The school board meeting will begin in 1 minute. Please take your seats. Again, the school board meeting will begin in 1 minute.
Good evening. The February 27th, 2018 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting that everyone in the audience please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County School Board and Marion County School System only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. And these forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4.
Here.
Ms. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Mrs. Judy Zanetti, Public Education Foundation Officer, please introduce the individuals who will be providing the inspiration this evening.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Superintendent. Good evening, Chairman McCall and members of the school board. First, before we begin, I'd like you each to stand and say the pledge with me, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now I'm going to call to the podium Marion County's very own Rookie Teacher of the Year for 2018, Michael Hartman. For those that may not know Mr. Hartman is a biology teacher at Westport High School. He has 3 years of teaching experience, but prior to teaching here in Marion County, he also served as a longtime sub and worked as a paraprofessional. He earned his bachelor's degree in biology for secondary education from the University of Florida, where he also was the recipient of several prestigious scholarships. At Westport High School, he has hosted the Glee Club and the Science National Honor Society. And reading through his portfolio for his submission this year for Rookie Teacher of the Year, he said, "The best sound I can hear in my classroom is, ooh, now I get it." And the second best sound is that of a student that started the year saying they hated science, now telling him how they want to pursue science in higher education and have a career in the science field. Ladies and gentlemen, Marion County's Rookie Teacher of the Year, Michael Hartman.
Thank you, Ms. Zanetti. Hello, and first I would like to thank each of the school board members and Dr. Mayer for their work in Marion County. Education is a weird system. By and large, people expect everything to be perfect for their children. I especially get that now as a new father. And when it isn't, as in cases of either bullying or excessive standardized testing, we get angry and demand change and improvement in the system. However, our voices soon dwindle and little substantial changes are made on an effective scale too often. Our voices are heard by people whose hands are tied by budgets and regulations that they're doing their best with. And by the time our voices reach legislators, it is often as just soft echoes. But now the voices are different. A legion of young, hurt, desperate voices has spoken truth to power, and action is happening. Those who dismiss the students of Stoneman Douglas High School and dismiss their passion as naivete are making camp on the wrong side of history. Our children across the state of Florida, including here in Marion County, have a passion for justice. When community leaders join their voices and expertise to guide them, we can create a real opportunity to enact those changes that can and should help our children thrive in class and in life. Thank you.
With the exception of item C19.1, which has been withdrawn entirely from the agenda, I recommend approval of the agenda for the February 27th, 2018 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
Second.
Moved by Ms. King, seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 9th, 2018 school board meeting? Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. Are there any additions or corrections to these minutes? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 18th, 2018 administrative briefing and work session? Moved by Ms. Boynton. Seconded by Ms. King. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, then vote aye for favor and nay for opposed. And the vote passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 23rd, 2018 school board meeting? Moved by Ms. Boynton, second by Ms. King. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor say aye, and opposed, like sign. Aye. Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 25th, 2018 administrative briefing and work session? So moved by Ms. King.
Second.
Second by Ms. Boynton. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, a like sign. Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the January 29th, 2018 special school board meeting?
Move.
Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Ms. King. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. Thank you. Mrs. Judy Zanetti, Public Education Foundation Officer, would like to recognize two business partners at this time.
Well, hello. It's good to see you again. And at this time, we're going to start with a business partner recognition for Westport High School and their new business partner, Ocala Health. And I'm going to allow Principal Ginger Cruz to introduce her business partners that are here with her this evening and say a few words.
I am so thrilled about this partnership. Lauren Debick, right over here, came and met with, I took a tour of Westport several weeks ago and was just thrilled. And since then, we've had quite a few partners quite a few of their people come and speak to our students, and we're just thrilled. We also have Chad Christensen and Brittany Marthaler. So I just met them, but I'm very good friends with Lauren now. So I'm just so thrilled about this partnership. We also had somebody from the director of their education program that came out on our CTE tour today, and it's just unimaginable all the things that can happen with this partnership. So I'm very, very thrilled to have them with us.
Sure, and I'll be glad to. Chad Christensen, CEO for Ocala Health, and just wanted to thank you guys for the opportunity to work with Principal Cruz and Westport High School. I think it's pretty incredible, and I hope it's just a first step with Ocala Health working with the school system. I think we've talked about this, but I've got 2 young boys in the school system now, and I think there's lots of opportunities for us to participate, and we're very excited to be part of that. So thank you for the opportunity.
And I have something for each of you to take back with you. One for the school, and one for your office. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunities that you're providing to the students and staff at Westport High School. We appreciate you very much. Thank you. And tonight is a special evening. We have not one but 2 business partner recognitions. So if it's okay with you, Mrs. McCall, I'll move right into the second. And the second business partnership is with Marion Oaks Elementary School. So, here we go. And today, Principal Shea Gwynn took the advice that we like to give to our students and parents, and she took a day off because she is not feeling well. So instead of bringing that bug with her, she is not here this evening. And representing Marion Oaks is their assistant principal, Rebecca Ciroli Miller, and Rebecca will be introducing their business partner.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. First off, we just want to share that since 2010, when Marion Oaks opened their doors, they have never had a business partner. So we are just so excited and gracious to partner with Family Life Church. In fact, Family Life Church is just down the road from our school, so they serve the exact same community that we serve. They've already agreed to partner with us to recruit mentors to help our struggling manatees, so we are just so excited. So on behalf of the students and staff at Marion Oaks, Mr. Hill, we just want to present our very own Make Your Mark Manatee shirt to you. You are now an official Moe's Manatee. Yay. So wear this with pride. I know all of the staff at our school.
Sure. Thank you for the t-shirt, and I want to give a shout out real quick to Miss Zanetti at the Golden Apple Gala. It says something that needs to be repeated here. UCF is the national champions this year, so thank you for saying that at the gala. No, it's a pleasure to partner with this school. We like to say at our church that far too often the church is known for what it's against instead of what it's for. We want our community to know that we are for our public schools. We want to see them thrive because we're part of this community. We want to see it thrive because we believe God is for our schools and God is for the people here in this community. So thank you guys for all your commitment to our students. My parents are public school teachers, both of them, and my wife is a public school teacher. My brother's a public school teacher in Orlando, but still we won't hold that against them. And so thank you guys for what you do, and what you guys are doing is so important to our future. So thank you guys so much.
Oops. One for school.
New Zion.
One to take back to the church.
Wonderful.
Very cool.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Dr. Meyer would like to recognize the annual Murder Mystery Dinner.
Oh my gosh, yes. So Miss Crowder is going to make her way in with some special guests. A few weeks ago, I was invited to attend a murder mystery dinner theater at Vanguard High School. And I said, oh, sure, I'll go, because I love to support the kids. But my gosh, it was so well done. These students came in. We were all seated at tables. The room was packed, and it was like it was a real dinner theater. The room was packed with people at tables. These students came in, they stayed in character the whole evening. They worked table to table. During the evening, we had 2 mysteries we had to solve, and it kept us guessing till the very end. And I can tell you that my table, we guessed the wrong person. So, but Ms. Crowder, if you'll introduce who's with us, and we have Ms. LeBeau, and of course, they're not students, they're the people.
Cast.
Yes.
They're the cast.
Yes. So.
Good evening, Chairperson McCall, Vice Chair Ms. Boynton, board members, Superintendent Dr. Mayer, Mr. Gibbs, and Ms. Fulketter, and guests. This evening, we recognize Vanguard High School's drama teacher, Ms. Sarah LeBeau, and her students, the Vanguard High student players, for Vanguard's exemplary theater program, and in particular, for their 4th annual Murder Mystery Dinner Theater production. Ms. LeBeau is one of 3 of our full-time theater teachers. She has taught at Vanguard since 2009, and she was Rookie Teacher of the Year in 2010. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Theater Education at East Carolina and is an active member of the Florida Association for Theater Education. Next month, she travels to Tampa with the VHS players to compete in the State Thespian Festival. It's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Sarah LeBeau.
Thank you. The wonderful thing about theater are the real-world skills that they learn without even realizing it. Theater kids have more confident public speaking skills. They learn to be team players. They learn to work efficiently with different types of people. They learn to budget their time. They have the ability to learn quickly and correctly. And my favorite, they learn to be on time and on task. Tardiness is never accepted in the theater as it shows a lack of self-discipline and a lack of consideration for others. If you're on time, you're late is a phrase they often hear from my lips. This past February 2nd, 3rd, we produced our 4th annual Murder Mystery Dinner Theater at Vanguard, where the script that the actors memorize is only 20%. The rest is all improvisation. They have to think on their feet, stay in character, and answer questions posed by audience members. There was no real script. For the 4th year in a row, it was a great success, and tonight I have brought some of the people from the production of Nightmare on 28th Street. Felicia Cruz Fernandez played Suzanne Sugarbaker, the former class president who organized our reunion. Gracie Lugo cannot be here tonight. She played Madison Ross, who's married to Bobby, and Suzanne's best friend from high school. Bryce Curtis plays Bobby Ross, a big shot surgeon who has an ego that is out of this world. Justin Landrum, who's not here tonight, played Ducky Dale, Madison's high school sweetheart. Aubrey Walker was Ellen Ripley, our man's man, if you will. Rebecca Kurland, Rose Nyland. She wanted to be a famous actress, but ended up a librarian in Fargo, North Dakota instead. Nathan McElrath, who's not here tonight, played Bill S. Preston, a horror author who used to be #1. Trilby Rizzo, who's not here. Veronica Sawyer, currently a psychiatrist who is hoping to impress everyone at the reunion, but fails miserably. Quasi Lanier played, oh my gosh, Delia Dietz, Ducky's date for the evening. She's a jealous type, so she had her eye on Madison all night. Sam Orr played Edward Rooney, Suzanne's husband and a used car dealer. And Beatrice Pruitt played Allison Reynolds, Bobby and Madison's driver, and quite the gossip. And finally, Kiana Smith, who played Alex Owens, Ripley's roommate and date for the evening. So, thank you.
Everybody. Thank you. I want to thank you. I know what improvisation, how hard that is to do, so congratulations on such a great job, and hopefully I will be there next year. I wasn't able to come this year, but hopefully we'll be there next year. Anybody else?
I just want to say this to you. It adds something to the school when y'all have the improv. For the students that was not there, they will hear about your program. and they will hear about what you're doing. And I know it's an important part of it. And I'll say it again, building is just brick and mortar. These are the things that make the school come alive. So again, congratulations on a successful year.
Thank you. Dr. Meyer, you have a turnaround school update for us?
Yes, Dr. Grantham and Ms. Beck will take care of that for us this evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Mayor. My name is Jennifer Beck, and I am a principal on assignment. I am one of 3 principals on assignment this year, and I support 14 of our elementary schools. Mr. Woody Clymer supports our other 17 elementary schools, and Mr. John Curley supports our middle and high schools. Along with my 14 elementary schools, in particular, I support our turnaround schools. Why is that? Because I was a turnaround principal last year. So I had the pleasure of being the principal at Sunrise Elementary School. And so I understand that the work that our leadership team and our teachers are putting in to really make good things happen at those schools. As we begin tonight, I'd like to just kind of recap what is a turnaround school and why are several of our schools in turnaround status this year. For the 17-18 school year, any schools earning a D that were in planning for turnaround during the 16-17 school year would have been in turnaround status, and that's why Oakcrest Elementary is a turnaround school. Schools earning an F during the 16-17 school year, whether they were in planning or not, automatically fall into turnaround status, and that's Wyomina Park. Schools earning a D or F that have an approved district-managed turnaround plan that have completed 1 year of the 2-year plan, that would also put you in turnaround status, and that is Evergreen Elementary. And then finally, we have one school that is in planning for turnaround. So they're not officially in turnaround status, but they did earn a D for the 16-17 school year. So what's our goal with all of our turnaround schools as well as all of our schools? And that is to be at least a C school grade and then to sustain either that A, B, or C for not only this year but in subsequent years. How do we do that? And specifically, since our turnaround schools this year fall in that elementary category, we'll talk specifically about student proficiency. So we do that through increased proficiency in both ELA, which encompasses reading and writing, through math, and through science. And then another area that we can also work to increase our school grade is through increased student learning gains, and that would occur in both ELA and math. So what does a principal on assignment do to support turnaround schools? Well, we do lots of things to support turnaround schools and all of our schools as well. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these bullet points, whether it be through mentoring, problem solving, offering training and support, working through operational and curriculum issues, being a liaison between our school and our parents, and I think our final bullet point is probably the most important to me, and that's being an active participant in our schools, and that looks in a number of different ways that we'll go over. So why are principals on assignment important? And I think this is important to note. We have wonderful administrators in Marion County Public Schools, and I enjoy working with all of them. But I think it's important to note that we have many novice principals and many novice assistant principals. For our principals that have 0 to 3 years worth of experience, that makes up 54% of our principal group, followed by 4 to 5 years, 15%, and 31% of our principals have 6 or more years of experience. I think when you look down in our assistant principal group, 75% of our assistant principals have 0 to 3 years worth of experience in their role as an administrator. In year 4 and 5 is 14%, and 6 or more years is at 11%. So what that says to me is we've got folks out there that are working hard and they're doing a great job, but they need support when issues, concerns, questions come up. And that's one of our primary roles, is to be supportive of both the leadership team, the school, and the staff. So let's talk a little bit about mentoring, support, and problem solving. That encompasses a wide variety of things. Everything from maybe they have personnel concerns or issues, maybe they have facility issues that sometimes it's a case of, who do I reach out to if I need this problem solved? Could be scheduling. So it may be a case of, we're looking to change the master schedule, and I'd love some input on maybe what you've done in the past, some things that you see going on at other schools, or some recommendations you can make. Discipline. So we look at discipline data. We talk about what we're doing for discipline at all of our levels, whether it's Tier 1 for all students or whether it's more specialized for specific students. It could be working with budgets, so getting suggestions as to what is the most frugal way to accomplish something in the schools. Maybe it's working with Title I funds to make purchases to advance instruction. And then I also think it's important, we spend lots of time talking about program implementation and really making sure that if we've got a program going, that we're implementing it with fidelity. And then feedback on classroom instruction. That's probably my most favorite piece, because that puts us in the classroom with teachers, with administrators, and really allows us the opportunity to give great feedback on the great things that are going on in our classrooms. Training. So whether that be from us actually conducting the training from a curriculum point of view or a discipline point of view, or whether it's helping to schedule. I do quite a bit of scheduling specifically for our turnaround schools to make sure that those teachers have regular support in the curriculum initiatives that we are utilizing this year. And then certainly participating in PD opportunities. So even as a principal, I believed you kind of have to walk that walk. So if it's an initiative that you are doing, then we expect those principals to be present, and that means that I can also be present at those trainings. That gives me great opportunities to have discussions with teachers. Supporting administration with operational and curriculum areas. So when there's been occasions this year that we've had principals and assistant principals off campus. And so principals on assignment have been able to cover those positions. And again, that's something that I certainly never mind doing. It gives us a great opportunity to really make sure that we're connecting with our schools. And then also working very closely with the directors from the following departments. Again, if we're trying to be cohesive in our programming, we want to make sure that we're in regular communication with our elementary ed department, federal programs as it relates to those Title I budgets, teaching and learning, and then our turnaround. And then parental support. So we are also the liaison when we have parents that are looking for some additional support, and we can help connect them either back to the administration, or we can help problem solve their concern. That is also another one of the ways that we are helpful, and specifically I help at all of those turnaround schools with that. Maybe that's through a phone call between a parent, getting that administrator involved. Maybe it's through an email, but on some occasions it's a face-to-face conference, and we look forward to those as well. And just as we were looking at our numbers the other day, and this really encompasses elementary and secondary as a whole, we've really had, between Mr. Clymer, Mr. Curley, and myself, approximately 200 opportunities to really connect with our families. And again, maybe it's a question being answered, maybe the parent would like us to help facilitate something, and we are there to be that liaison. And finally, when we talk about active participation in our schools, I want to talk about on-site support, because this is where I feel that I'm the most beneficial to a turnaround school, is when I can provide on-site support. And so you can see the number of visits that we have made this year to Evergreen, Oakcrest, Wyomina Park, and Greenway. What do those visits look like? They look like a lot of different things. So it could be participating in a training. It could be leading the training. It definitely includes classroom walkthroughs along with just the administration as well as our DA team when they are coming through. And sometimes it's at the request of the administrator or a parent, and we're participating in a conference. Really, the sky is the limit, but when we have an on-site visit, it is to be of support, again, to that leadership team and to the school as a whole. So those are just a couple of the ways that really, when I thought about what are the ways that principals on assignment are making a big impact in not just all of our schools this year, but in specifically our turnaround schools, these were definitely some of the things that came to mind that we really feel like that are being a support to the leadership team. I didn't know if you had any questions, but I'd be happy to answer those.
Stacy?
How are you using the family and community department that we've got in the school system? What are they doing to assist you with your parenting programs?
So we definitely have reached out to Ms. McGuire in particular, as I know it was mentioned in a previous meeting that our turnaround schools have access to UNICEF money. And so as a complement to that money, there needed to be a large kind of family and involvement piece to that. And so really reaching out to that department to talk about, here are some ideas that we have to reach out to the community, going to the community. Do you have some additional ways? In addition to that, that department, in not just supporting turnaround schools, but all schools, they definitely take advantage of any of the opportunities or things that she has scheduled or that department has scheduled to be supportive of including families.
Okay, so are there parent programs that they're leading in the schools, or how are they handling on the turnaround schools? For our turnaround schools, that's going to fall back specifically on our principals. So our principals are really going to be able to take a gauge on where our parents are, what are the needs of our parents. That's going to come through parents themselves. That's also going to come from the staff that's working directly with the parents. And then from there, they can really create the programming that's going to best support their needs. Because what might be going on at Oakcrest and the initiatives they have going on there might have a different flavor or feel with going on at Wyomina Park. I also know in several of those cases, they do have strong support from surrounding groups, whether that be through churches or other groups that help support those schools specifically. Okay, and I want to thank you. You're a star in my eyes. You turned around a school, and I told Miss Sandy this last week. I have utmost confidence in you. And thank you for all that you do and all the work that you did to turn a school around. I know it was kind of a crazy thing that just kind of happened in the spur of the moment for you, that you went from one school to another. You handled it like a queen.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. James?
Ms. Beck, what I'm looking for is this. Last week when we had the turnaround schools before us, they gave us an excellent overview of what they were doing and how they were doing. I'm looking for a portion of the balanced scorecard. When you all come back to me, I want to see where you have gone from that point to this point. Give you an example. Each one of them talked about not having all their teachers. If they didn't have them all this time, how close are they to achieving their goal? Okay, I looked at the thing that Mr. McGowan sent out in terms of data, because I think everything that we're talking about is driven by data in terms of how you project the schools. So what I'm looking for when you guys come back, when y'all come back, and I don't expect the principals to be in front of me, I'm expecting you guys to be in front of me telling me that we have 20, just for the community and service people that's out there, they made 22 calls, they made contact with 22 people. We are up from 22% the last time. I'm just giving you an example of what I'm looking for. See, when I look at what this data that y'all tell me, y'all spend a lot of time on doing these things here. I'm looking for data to tell me that this stuff is working. Okay, all those categories that you all have, I want to see where you are from this point to that point, and how close we are to achieving the goals. Because I was looking at the projections that was presented by Ms. Sandy, and she can almost tell you why, what school's going to do whatever. I want to know who's moving closer to it. I want to know where the resources are to cover those areas. Because if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Hamby was supposed to have some numbers in terms of where the money are being spent in these schools and how they're being used. See, a balanced scorecard will tell me if we need to put more money into tutoring or whatever. That's what I'm looking for. That's really a nice presentation. But when y'all come in here, I'm looking for the numbers to tell me where we are, how close are we to achieving that goal. If we need to put additional money in this particular area to help move that particular thing. That's what I'm looking for.
Be happy to do that.
Okay, but make it so everybody, one of these guys can read it, so we don't have to sit through all these things here, and you can walk up here and say, Mr. Livingston got 22 teachers this year. He only needed 23, so he's almost 90% or whatever. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Ms. King?
I just want to say this was a great PowerPoint, and I hear wonderful things about you. A couple weeks ago, I did ask for a written report, and I was promised I would receive it tonight. Do we have a written report from the principals? From what? Do we not recall that conversation?
I do recall that we would have written data.
Okay.
I didn't know that it was this board meeting. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought Dr. Mayer, because I asked where the written data was last Thursday, and then I was informed that we would receive it tonight. So
from the principal's presentation.
From the principal's presentation. So, Mr. James, I have your same thoughts and concerns because we did hear about the data and the teacher vacancies. There was questions about the discipline, parental involvement, what good things are happening in the schools, and if there's anything that the board can do to help these schools be successful. So I will repeat myself again for the third time tonight. I would appreciate it if the board could have a written report so we have this in our hands and we can look at it in the future and see where we're going. And if we want to call it a balanced scorecard, that's what we'll call it. But we need this in our hands.
And Ms. Beck, when the principals were presenting, they gave us numbers, percentage numbers of students that were in those different tiers and how they were moving up in those tiers, the percentages. 22 students had moved up to tier 2 out of tier. I think those are the numbers we're looking for each school.
And we would be happy to provide some of that information. Know that some of that data is really dependent upon when those assessments were given. So I believe, probably as an example, that the principals came in and spoke to you about their iReady data from their AP2, which was the second time they gave their diagnostic data. Correct. They will not have that specific information again till closer to the end of the year, but we are getting ready to take district QSMAs, and we would be able to come back and talk about specific standards and how our students at those turnaround schools are doing based on those QSMA data points that will be coming in soon. So that's one example. I'm also thinking we could talk about attendance data, which is definitely something that both our DA team definitely looks at from both a teacher perspective and from a student perspective. Discipline data, I heard Mr. James say, is also something that the DA team definitely is always interested in as well. And I believe I also heard Mr. James say going back to teacher vacancies as well. So if we were at this point, at this date, what are we 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now? Am I kind of capturing the data that you're wanting and you're interested in?
I think you are, and I personally would like to have the data from the meetings, the workshop that they presented to us, so that next time we have, I guess it would be the AP3 maybe, then we can look and see the comparison. So I think that's really what we're looking for, to see if we really are moving that bar with those turnaround schools. Is that correct, Ms.
It is.
King?
I believe I heard Ms. Beck say we wanted to know the standards. I don't think the board is looking for the standards. The board is looking for the data. So, for example, we saw a lot of standards and things. We want to see the data and see the progressions of our
See how they're
students.
moving.
Yes.
One other thing we want to just share with you now, this formula should be for all of our schools. It's for all of our elementary schools and high schools. We should be able to see this data and see what they're dealing with and where they are and what percentage. We don't have to see it right now, but anybody can look at a balanced scorecard and tell you if we short 10 teachers at this school over here, and what are we doing? I'm just using that as an example because that one is clear. And when I look at all the schools and all this help we got out there, they should be able to present us something where we know where each one of these schools are. And that's what I'm looking
And
for.
here's the good thing, that our guidance and assessment, local assessment team have done, kind of a kudos or shout out to them. They've done a very good job this year. That what I would say, Mr. James, is that I bet you that if you went to any one of those schools, they could absolutely, without hardly having to look at their papers, kind of give you a scorecard of where they're at based upon the data that they have in hand. That department has really worked to inform not just the administrators this year, but also to empower the teachers to make sure that they understand the data as well. So I think I hear what you're saying, and I think with myself, also working maybe with Ms. Hamby, and then whoever else, Dr. Mayer, would like to be part of that team, we can put together that information for you.
Okay. I think that's what we want, a dashboard, a scorecard, something that we can look at, and then next time we get it, we can see, are we moving that bar? Okay?
Well, one
Ms.
thing that
Stacy.
we got a nice email from Mr. McGowan. It was fantastic. It was like Johnny on the
good.
spot. We asked for it at noon, we had it by 4. It was wonderful. But I saw some empty spots on some of the schools, just a few. Maybe they don't do iReady, or maybe they don't have the full thing. I don't know why. But we did have some empty spots I would like filled in. Did anybody else notice that we had some schools that
They hadn't hand done, it has to be hand done, so she hadn't gotten to those yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, one thing, excuse me, Angie. One thing we did with our charter school is that when they report to us, they almost gave us a standardized report. Y'all notice that we were able to get all of that information. Okay, so when I hear of going to various schools, if we go to various schools, we're gonna get various things. We'd like to have it standardized, where we got to get the same thing from all of the schools. I'm sorry, Angie, go ahead.
You know, I was talking, so you understand, I realized that sometimes, some of our teachers were burnt out, so maybe we can do about that, monthly. So some ideas about that, so Superintendent, maybe you can give some ideas, so, because our teachers don't burn out, you want to retain this, okay? All right, thank you.
Ms. Beck, I think creating some type of a dashboard or
Sure.
scoreboard card that looks exactly the same for every one of our schools and would be excellent.
And let me just to clarify, are we talking specifically for our turnaround schools?
Well, for the turnaround schools for you, but I think we need the same type of dashboard for all. So I guess would that be Mr. McGowan?
We'll work in.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
so
make it
so
happen.
I think we
That way we'd always know where
Yes.
we were with our teachers, and we could say, okay,
That's a great idea.
what strategy can the board use to
I think that's a great
move
idea.
funds to get the teachers in, and we'll know
that's a
before
great
now
idea.
that we're short teachers.
I think that's a good idea. And start with the elementary and then we'll, yeah, okay. That's a good idea. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank you so
very
much.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beck.
Great presentation. Thank you. Dr. Meyer, you have a special donation to recognize.
Yes, so another great community partnership, and Ms. McGuire is going to come on up and share how our Sheriff's Department has worked with a great community member for many years to help our kids at the holidays, and we are so happy to recognize them finally this year.
Thank you, Superintendent, Madam Chair, board members. Yes, for about 15-plus years, through the Sheriff's Office and the sponsorship of Mr. and Mrs. Al Dunlap, they have identified every year one of our schools
and they invite to a special Christmas party over 100 of our students. And the superintendent has been at the last couple, but who I have with me tonight is, of course, the Sheriff Billy Woods, Captain Alicia Walker, who's been instrumental in this partnership since we were going back to about 2006. And also with us is Trinity Catholic High School Principal, Dr. Erica Wickstrom. Band director is Cassidy Gleaton. Michael Serrano is the choir director. And this year it was Fort McCoy School. So Mr. Hearn from Fort McCoy is here. And we're going to let them share a few things. Unfortunately, the Dunlaps were unable to attend last minute, but I'm just so thankful that we have, you know, at the end of every board meeting, you thank people for donations, and sometimes it's money and sometimes it's stuff. And those of you who are in our schools know that our volunteers and our commitment is so wonderful, but we just want to have the opportunity publicly to thank this wonderful partnership that we have.
And could you just explain why our friends from Trinity Catholic are here?
Okay, I wasn't sure if the sheriff was going to do that, but absolutely. Every year when we get there, let me just paint the picture. So the students are identified through the school administration, and they don't quite know where they're going. The families do, and they sign permission slips. And the students get on a bus, and they show up at the sheriff's office. And when they get off the bus, there's all of these people cheering and applauding for them and welcoming them there. And over the past however many years, the representatives from Trinity Catholic High School, their students, their band, and their choir, through the support with their partnerships with the Dunlaps, have been the ones helping greet our students. And it's just so exciting. Once they get off the bus and then they walk inside and they see the decorations and the table and all the things that happened that day, it's just such a wonderful experience. So, yes, thank you. The Sheriff?
Well, hello, everybody. It's always a joy to be before y'all. Glad to be here with you. You know, Al, I call him Al, but Mr. Dunlap and Mrs. Dunlap are wonderful individuals, and they've done this for quite some time. And if you haven't met them, I suggest that you do. I recommend it. Al's unique. He's a good man at what he does. But they thoroughly enjoy doing this for the kids. And Trinity High School, I think this is a good example. When I'm before commission, and I talk about partnerships and I talk about the collaboration and of having stuff, and this is a perfect example of having Trinity High School and the Dunlaps coming in for the kids. And it breaks you, to one degree, it breaks your heart because it is 'tis the season, obviously, when Christmas comes around, to look at those kids when they come in. Sort of like when we were that young, remember? We ran down or ran out of our room and the presents were under the tree. You got all excited, and it ain't nothing better than to see those kids out there when they know that those gifts are there. But it's always a pleasure to work with the school board and to take care of our kids out here. So, thank you. You want one, Tom?
Good afternoon. I would just like to say on behalf of Trinity Catholic High School, thank you for recognizing our teachers, Ms. Gleaton and Mr. Serrano. They are dedicated and committed to our students, to the TC community, and to Ocala. And at Trinity Catholic, within our mission statement, one of our focuses is to create students who go out and serve their community. They commit to a life of service to others. So this is really, truly a perfect example of what TC is all about. So thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Gleaton?
Well, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here tonight. And we love getting to go and be a part of this event. It's such a great opportunity for our students to get out and truly put their service in action. They get to see these kids and get to know them. Our kids also, in the past years, we've also gotten to sit with them and open their gifts. And so our kids pair up with theirs. And it's something that our students look forward to every year. They can't wait for it, and they love to be a part of it. So thanks for allowing us to be a part of serving our community.
Thank you for giving our kids the opportunity to bring a positive change and impact. It means the world to teaching them the values that I think that we need to enforce in schools. So we really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
And they're wonderful. Thank you. I'd like to thank you for your recognition. It's probably my favorite thing that I do all year.
And when Sheriff Woods came into office, I asked him, I said, we've been doing this a long time, and I would really like to continue. And he was like, well, of course. And so it's an honor, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the best things, we have a great working relationship with all the schools. I seek out the social workers because I realize that those are the people that are going to be in touch with the families that need the service, so that we ensure that's how we do it. We also include the siblings group. So, for instance, Fort McCoy was a new experience for us this year because it's a combined school. So what we did is, what we realized is we couldn't bring some of the siblings and not the other siblings. And when we've done that, we want to make sure that everybody was happy. So that was really a unique experience that we had. So we actually served this year over 150. About 150, I think. Not all the kids came because the older kids weren't there, but all the younger kids came. So, and then we took the presents back out to them. So we really enjoyed it. We couldn't do it without Mr. and Mrs. Dunlap. They donate the money, and we just, the sheriff's office, the men and women of the sheriff's office love it. We love the kids, and we love our community, and we really enjoy doing that. Thank you.
I don't know, Sheriff Woods. I'm still excited about the presents and Santa Claus and everything. I was pretty excited myself because I'd never been involved with something like that. And when that bus pulled around the corner, the band started playing. Santa Claus was there. Mr. and Mrs. Dunlap was there. And that guy's a character now. I'll tell you what, if you never met this guy, I thought I was a character. But he is a character. But I got to say thank you to the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Woods, Mr. and Mrs. Dunlap, and for our students to come into town. That meant a lot to them. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank all of you very much.
And I got a couple cards for the sheriff, and we got some cards for the Dunlaps, but they're about 3 months old.
Mr. James has something to say.
I'd like for the sheriff to come up, back up here.
We're in trouble.
I just would like for him to just, I know all the things that are going on in the state, and I know that you all have been receiving memos and emails. Can you just talk a couple of minutes about what's going on and out there with that?
Absolutely. I'll be.
Wait a minute now. Go ahead.
We have been inundated ever since the incident. If you're referring, that's what you want me to talk about?
Talk about that a little bit.
Yes, our office has been inundated from a wide range of things, obviously from calls of students not thinking. I'll be polite here in a public forum, and increasing our calls for service. The governor has set out a plan. The majority of it, I can tell you that I do agree with it. Some of the portions I don't. But the overall picture is we're moving in the right direction regards to trying to get legislation, and the one teacher's absolutely right. Oh my goodness, taking office legislation in Tallahassee. That's a whole new monkey right there. Trying to get things pushed through and trying to get things changed. We have looked at, and currently we have a meeting tomorrow of sitting down and going an overview of what the governor has put out regarding to SROs, the Sheriff's Office Marshal program as well too, which will affect us hugely. Some of the concerns is part of the funding that's coming in. For those school resource officers, the governor's laid out his plan. We don't know what it's going to cost. Right now we don't know how many it will take. Now, some of the things that we currently do that is in his plan, like the DCF, we have an embedded individual in DCF, an investigator that's already with them. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. That's why I reached for my phone.
You're welcome to use it.
Thank you.
Sheriff Wood, while you're doing that, our Trinity folks, if you all would like to, you're standing there, and I know the little one is tired, so while Sheriff Wood is addressing us, you all are welcome to either stay or step out. Thank you. No, that's okay. I just didn't want them to have to stand up.
Okay.
The biggest one, training. We actually, once it started, we had already started of bringing everybody together. This is the biggest thing, which is going to involve y'all as well. is a large-scale training in regards to an active shooter. And because an active shooter just doesn't involve ourselves or the fire department, it involves an enormous amount of partners, to include your staff, the hospitals, rescue, surrounding agencies, FWC, the Florida Highway Patrol. And the training is will be brought through emergency management. There's a lesson plan that they're putting together now in a curriculum to have a standardized training in regards to that on our behalf and for the response. Each of these entities have to be included because when you have an incident such as down south, your hospitals get over inundated, unfortunately. Because obviously you don't just have that, you have all the other outside calls. We get inundated. The police department gets inundated because you're using all your resources and we got to come. But we have to be trained. Kudos, they already left. Trinity has already reached out to me, Trinity High School. They know about this training. They've actually asked us to do it during school hours so the students will get the training as well too. That's important, regardless if it's only a small part. When you do that type training, it will click if it ever occurs. God forbid that it ever occurs here in Marion County. So those are a couple things. I'll open up the floor if you got any specific questions. I'd be glad. I could go on. So.
No, only thing while we had you here, I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to speak on these issues because I was, as I was looking at TV, the governor was talking in reference to this thing.
Yes.
What's occurring, and I know that there were some emails that have already been sent to you guys in terms of that. And if Trinity is out there, we need to make sure we're on the same page with what we're doing out here.
You know,
that's my point.
No, I appreciate that, Mr. James. It is for myself. I have over 350,000 residents. However, the reality is I probably have closer to 500,000 people I have to take care of. The public schools obviously is an important thing, but I have a whole pile of private schools that we have to take care of. My job is to protect every single person in this county. That's my job. We're not losing focus with Trinity or any of our private schools or even our little preschools that we have in our nurseries and all of that out there. They will be a focus as well. We're going to bring them on board. There's many things in here. My plan, just so y'all know, I will be coming back before y'all to let you know exactly what we're wanting to do, what we're going to put in place, and what I will offer. What I will offer to y'all is really going to be up to y'all's decisions. Now, I can sit here and make suggestions to you, and I'll go ahead and do it. I'll take the opportunity. You need to examine your schools really hard in regards to fencing. They need to be hardened. There needs to be only one entry point into that school, every school. I know we got some older schools. And if expenses and you're looking at funding, a lot of it needs to be directed. And hopefully this funding that the governor's talking about, it'll be directed. It will be, because it's in the bill, because I've read the bill, that you'll be able to use it for that. Whether we have used the Marshals program, I think it'll be important. I can tell you right now, I've already directed my COPS program to visit every school campus. They're to drive through there. They are in not quite marked cars as the deputies have. I'm changing the design of those cars, but they've been instructed to go through the parking lots to check for something ordinary. I've told them to make sure that they go in and speak to somebody so that they know who they are. Those are some of the things that we all can work on. Now, there's some things that's totally out of my control and out of y'all's control. Legislation is going to have to decide on mental health. I'm here to tell you, mental health is a big, huge restraint on us because of the limitations in law that we can't do regarding the weapons that they have in mental health. That needs to be changed. There currently, and we've been doing it for quite a while, is what we're trying to do is so that we keep track of individuals that make the threats. Like the individual down south, there was a pattern. There's a whole bunch of other issues that we won't discuss here, but we'll be keeping track of those, no different than our drug dealers and our gangs that we have in the county. We know who they are. And by doing the tracking of which we're going to be doing, we'll be able to identify them. And hopefully during that process, when we get an alert, we can bring on board not only the school board, but our mental health facilities around here as well, and our caregivers. So,
Would you like to hear from Mr. McFadden on what we've done, or do you want to maybe make this a workshop?
Make that a workshop.
Okay, and when the sheriff comes, so some of the things we are taking care of, so we'll make that a workshop.
which is perfect. Everybody,
Okay.
you know, and you're right, the emails have been coming in left and right. Everybody understands what we cannot do is have a knee-jerk reaction.
Correct.
And base our decisions off of emotion. And you have to do this in a timely manner and make sure you examine everything that you're doing and doing it properly and doing it right for what's in the best interest of not just the schools, but what's in the best interest of the children. And I know people want to know answers, people give me suggestions. Be assured we're working on it. So.
Thank you.
Say one thing, Beth.
Yes.
You know, even though we're a fairly large county now, I feel like we're very close to our law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am.
I believe this county's a very, we feel we have a lot of confidence in our law enforcement. And I feel, as a school board member, I mean, I'm looking at some of the lousy things that the Broward School Board did, that they did. That was,
Yes, ma'am.
I just can't even imagine. And I know you guys would never even let us do something like that. You know, you would be standing on the courthouse steps screaming, both you and Mr. McFadden,
Right.
arm in arm, saying, "No way, Jose." So I'd like to say, I believe we have, between you two guys, I think we're going to be fine.
I believe
And thank you for talking to us.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to
Thank
a
you.
workshop. Dr. Meyer, this is a night for recognition.
I know.
I like this. Would you like to recognize the kids' art program?
It is such a happy night. So Miss Crowder and Miss Zanetti will make their way back in the room, and this is for the kids' tag art program, which is a yearly event, and it's so fun to be there, where we see the students expressing themselves and creating these art tags that then our friends in Mr. Albright's office display for us and help promote.
Good evening again. Tonight I have the honor of introducing Marion County's Tax Collector, George Albright, and Deputy Tax Collector and Kids Tag Art Coordinator and Advocate, Steve Hall. Steve Hall has brought something special for you. He is bearing gifts. He has the 2018 tags from a school in each of your districts, and he also has the superintendent's last 2 Superintendent Choice Awards from the last 2 years. They're here to share with you about the Kids Tag Art program.
This is perfect for me, George.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a horsewoman. This is perfect.
Looks
Thank
to me
you.
like I lost a lot of hair.
But I do want to come see your gas station.
Well, we would love to have you Saturday. The Hops is doing that.
Yes,
and,
I know. I read
Anyway,
that in the paper.
thank you for saying that, Madam Chairman. Board, this is my 6th year coming up here. I guess we've brought over $100,000, haven't we, in 6 years? 117,000. So we're very excited, and it's just a great program. I'm going to let Steve tell you all about it again, and to the listeners, so that they can be brought up to speed. Steve? By the way, Steve's dad was the tax collector for Lake County from when to when?
Long time ago.
A long time ago.
It's not a family business, really. So. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us to be here again this year. As Mr. Albright said, this is our 6th year, and we're glad to have this program. We started it in 2012 after we had seen the program from Polk County Tax Collector. And the program inspires 5th grade art students to design their own specialty plate, while at the same time learning about how practical applications of designing the plate, turning it into an actual item, and then selling the plate. Florida has, as you know, over 100 plus specialty plates, and the kids recognize those plates, and so a lot of them wanted to design their own plates. So this program allows them to do that, and these are vanity plates that go onto the front of the vehicle. Each school earns 100% of the proceeds from the sales of the Kids Tag Art program, and after the printing cost, their share this year was $13,600. In sponsorship money, we had well over another $13,000. Some of our sponsors, and we couldn't do this without our sponsors in the community. Jenkins Auto Group this year is our top sponsor with $10,000. Fine Arts of Ocala has donated $1,000 again this year. The Florida Heart Research Foundation Institute out of Miami, they have donated $1,500. And other sponsorships that we have is $100 from Community Bank and Trust, $500 from Scirocco Electric, $500 from Angie Lewis State Farm Insurance, and we also have some in-kind sponsorships that provide services for the program. That would be the Appleton Museum that allows us to hold our ceremony there every year. This year they were going through some renovations, so we had to move it to another location, but next year we'll be back at the Appleton. We also have, the Marion County Tax Collectors Charities Program and Woods Printing. Woods Printing is the one that has provided these fine plates, and each year the product keeps getting better and better and better. On December 5th, there was some judging by a panel of judges that chose 2 from the top 5 from each elementary school. This year we had 30 schools that participated in the program, and so these, out of the 5, 2 were chosen, and they get the award of distinction badge that's on the plate, as you can see. From all of those choices, then, we have some choice awards: the Appleton Museum of Art, Fine Arts of Ocala, the Florida Heart Research Foundation, Jenkins Auto Group, the Superintendent of Schools, and Marion County Tax Collector and Woods Printing all get their choice. Last year, we totaled in sponsorship and class sales through the foundation was given back was $27,468. This year we had $27,519. And over the last 6 years, we have given to the schools $117,000. This has been generated through the sales and the sponsorships through class sales. This year, the Kids Tag Art program is alive and in full swing in 14 counties throughout the state. And in 2006, when Polk County started the program, this year the program is slated to surpass $1 million in donations to the art programs throughout the state of Florida. On January 24th, up in the Capitol building, the program itself received the Diversity and Inclusion Award from the Department of State and Consumer Affairs. And in May, it's in the planning stages right now, but in May there will be a proclamation that will be given by the Cabinet recognizing the Kids Tag Art program for the state of Florida. So, with that being said, we have a check.
Oh, well, always take it. Yes, it is.
We brought big money.
$20,000. Wow.
And board members, if you'll click on the PDF on this tab, you'll see the amount of money that went to each school.
Okay.
So it's on the agenda there on a PDF.
Okay.
So, Mr. James.
I'm smiling at George because our first time doing this, it was a thought that came up from Polk County. And when I saw the enthusiasm from the art teachers when we went around to the various schools and were looking at the art teachers that was working with this and working with you in this project, it's and seeing it now and seeing how far it has gone, I'd like to commend you and your staff because I know that you guys put a lot of time into this, and on behalf of all the students, especially the art teachers that work with you in terms of getting this thing going and get it to rolling, it's just tremendous, and I just want to thank you on their behalf. And it's one of those things where you look at somebody that have a vision about what our school district should be doing, And I just want to thank you guys for us working together and y'all making us a part of your foundation as well. Thank you.
Ms. Stacy?
And I'd like to say, I saw recently on television the children that were in the horrible home that they were in, where the parents had tied them to things, and they had been living in this neighborhood for many, many years. It said that what they're doing for them now to rehab them, that they're really enjoying, is art and music. They're a lot of music and a lot of artsy type things that's really helping them to come have some happy within them. And so when I hear about this project, I think about children who maybe do have some things, personal things going on in their homes or in their lives, that a project like this, anything that we can do to stimulate them and excite them, to give them a happy moment. We don't know what this creativity and being involved in a program like this, we don't know what it does for the individual child. And like you say, like they say, it might not mean a whole lot to some children, but it means everything to the one that is really blessed by it. And so thank you for what you do, because now that we're learning more about art and music that we had not, we knew it, but we didn't have the research, but now we got the research. But we do know now that art and music just reaches to the soul of the child. And so thank you so much.
You're welcome. Ms. Boynton? No?
George and Steve, thank you so much. It's about art. Thank you for that vision. Thank you so much. And, you know, George, for years you've been right there with our students, and I just want to thank you for everything.
You know, Madam Chairman, I don't know how even I want to say it, but there's an element of what Nancy talks about, but there's also kids that may be just on top of the world on every other subject matter, but also may have the gift. And it's funny, when we do those awards, without making any particular comment about it, I mean, there's just some kids, you know, this is their life
passion.
And because of this, they're getting to be drawn out to get to do that. Because if you really think about it, I mean, I was raised here. I went to the school system. And there was just very little chance for artsy kids to have a platform to show themselves. So I think that's kind of a byproduct of the whole thing, isn't it?
Excellent.
And your art teachers are so amazing. They're so much into this whole thing. They're so much into their kids.
So thank you so much for your commitment to our students and for making this a better place for all of us to live. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Go and tell your daughter I said hello.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You did very well.
All right. Thank you for our beautiful tags.
Yes, thank you for the gift.
Somebody get the check. Somebody get the check.
Some of the students.
Ms. Crowder, would you get the check? You get the check.
The tags are on sale on the tax collector's website.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And one more exciting event. Dr. Mayor, would you like to recognize the History Day Fair?
Yes, please. On February 16th, we had our inaugural History Day Fair, and it was amazing. I'll never forget last year when I did a walkthrough where we had it last year and this year at Horizon Academy. And I walked through last year, and there were great displays up, but there was nobody there to see them. So as soon as Ms. Barber came on the team as our program specialist for social studies, 6 to 12, I said, we've got to do something to showcase this great work our students are doing and the great teaching that's happening about our history. And so she took that challenge on, and she's here to showcase the great work by our students. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing.
Yes, it was. Yes, Chairman McCall, school board members, Dr. Mayor, thank you for having us this evening to recognize some amazing students. Like Dr. Mayor was saying, under her leadership this year, Secondary Curriculum and Instruction organized the inaugural Marion County Public Schools National History Day Fair. We, up until this point, had Horizon Academy, who had participated for probably 1 to 2 years. And so we really wanted to make sure that this year it was a district-wide initiative. So National History Day is a nonprofit organization that creates opportunities for teachers and students to engage in historical research. Students learn history by selecting topics of interest, and then they launch into research projects. Set by National History Day, the theme for 2018 is conflict and compromise in history. So beginning in the fall, students choose a topic related to the theme. They conduct primary and secondary research, and after analyzing, interpreting all of those sources and drawing some conclusions about their topic, in this case, what was a conflict? Did compromise happen? Maybe compromise was not reached. Why was compromise not reached? Students presented their work in papers, exhibits, performances, websites, or documentaries. So at our inaugural fair on February 16th at Horizon, Marion County Public Schools had 120 projects from all 17 secondary schools, middle and high, on display. After judging by community members, it culminated in the award ceremony. The 45 first and second place district winners will have qualified for state competition. So this is the first year that we're going to be sending Marion County students to state competition, the Florida History Day in Tallahassee, from May 6th through May 8th. And then it will conclude with the National History Day competition at the University of Maryland. So locally, it was a great way for our entire community to see the wonderful activities that are taking place in our social studies classroom. It was also a way for our community members to participate in the judging of these projects and interact with students and ask them questions about their research. So at this time, we would like to recognize the National History Day Fair Award winners. So from Fort King Middle, Shannon Buchanan. From Howard Middle, Rishi Shakib, Maddie Sharp, Lamia Zaman, Christian Burton, Anish Goganini, Ryan Johnson,
Right there, guys, right there.
Aksayan Sivasakaran, Gabriel Rebay, Benjamin Whitehouse, Madison Shorb, Ella Champ, Priya Carab, Emily Figueras. From Lake Weir Middle School, Stella Nagel and Lucia Roscoe. From Liberty Middle School, Lowell Frines. From Osceola Middle School, Nathan Hamby, Cole Webb, and Cooper Gibson. So those are our junior award winners from middle school. And at this time, our senior category winners were Andrew Zanonos from Dunellen High School, Chloe Lundeen, also from Dunellen High School, William Oram from Westport High School, Alexis Forager from Westport, Cheyenne Brown from Westport, and Reagan Knight from Westport. I would also like to recognize those that couldn't be with us tonight. From Fort King Middle, Malia Flagler. From Horizon Academy, Charity Blue, Alexis Casaletto and Devontae McLean, and Ayana Leonti Felix. Also from Howard Middle, not with us tonight, Raffaello DeRodio and Brooks Newsom. And Maya Henry. From Dunellen High School, Jocelyn Rodriguez and Chris Munt and Jenna King. From Forest High School, Kaylee Sutherland, Shelby King, Shelby Purdy, McKenna Palacia. From North Marion High School, Katie Horn. And from Vanguard High School, Kana Liu and Jali Patel and Drashadi Patel. So let's give everyone a applause of congratulations.
So I know Mr. Christian would like to get a picture before we talk to you all. So Mr. Christian, do you want some of them to kneel in the front or no?
Girls, I want you to step forward this way. Step towards me. Come on some more. Come on some more. Don't be afraid again. I'm not going to touch you. Come on over.
Yeah, let the.
We're going to do 2 rows. Okay.
Can you see everybody, Kevin?
She needs to get up front.
I think this one.
We need to get her up
You need to
front.
scoot up just a little bit, okay? So he can get you in the picture.
This might be the biggest group ever. Scoot in. I can actually see everybody. Watch out. Here we go. Everybody's looking at this direction. 1, 2, 3. A couple more. All right, Mom and Dad, now's the time.
Everybody have it? I still see cameras.
Still a couple more.
Okay, tell me when.
Think you're good? One
Okay.
more. One more.
Okay.
All right, Mrs. McCall.
Okay.
Girls, if you'll just
Turn around, everybody turn around, and I'm going to start. I'm going to say congratulations. You know, the subject of history is so incredibly important because we have to know about our past. And sometimes the English and the reading and the math and the science gets in the way, but oh, our history classes are so very important. So thank you for taking the extra step that you took to be in this competition, and we hope to see many of you back again next year when you do it again. So thank you for your dedication. Board members? Everybody good?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, go right ahead.
Yes, you
Okay.
know, I am so proud of all of you. You know, let me tell you, and I can't even say horizontal. Horizontal, I can't even say it.
Horizon.
Thank you. Y'all know I had a stroke, so sometimes the words will come out funny. But as I remember when they first started, you know, and I remember Carol, back then, we came in together and we were like, history is so good, you know, and all of a sudden, everybody is about history there. And I wrote Emily, today is history, you know, tomorrow is history. And, you know, for every day, you know, it's going to be our history. So just for you all to do that, thank you. I'm so proud of all of you, okay? Thank you.
And Mom and Dads, thank you. We know that this work doesn't happen without your support, so we're going to give you a hand. So thank all of you very much. Thank you. You're dismissed. Thank you. You're dismissed.
Everybody's just go.
They don't know what to do. You as well. Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you so much. We're so proud of all of you.
Thank you very much.
Rain will be vacant in a minute.
Yeah, we'll thin out here in a minute, yeah. That was such a great night. My gosh.
You're at the boardroom.
You know what, on this tag, the person's name is Robin.
Really?
So I wonder if that's why.
I know. I bet she loves. It's because the robin's really the best.
It's like
Estelle Vaughn. Guarantee you, she has a horse or she wishes she did.
and it's just beautiful. Like,
To make, look at the piano.
And I would ask Ms. Crowder back in, please.
I don't have a creative bone in my body.
It's all hard.
Even my stick figures look funny. My hair's like this. My hair goes.
Mine too. And I literally had the sticks and hands like that.
Good evening again.
Okay. Are we ready? May I have a motion to adopt a proclamation recognizing the month of March to be Arts in Our Schools Month? Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye. Like sign nay. And the motion passed 5-0. Dr. Meyer, you wish to make
Yes.
some introductory remarks?
Thanks. Mr. Christian, our Public Relations Officer, and our TV Media Productions Coordinator, and Ms. Crowder, will read the proclamation and present that.
The month of March officially marks Youth Art Month, Music in Our Schools Month, Theater in Our Schools Month, and Dance Education Month. This is a time for everyone to recognize students, teachers, and administrators and their involvement in arts education. Arts education is a critical component of every student's education. Students of the arts are successful because of our talented teachers who are highly skilled and are able to inspire, challenge, and motivate our students to excel. Both teachers and students spend countless hours outside of the school day working not only on their craft, but also on teamwork, responsibility, perseverance, and empathy. We thank the Marion County School Board and our superintendent for your support of the arts and for your commitment to providing a well-rounded, inclusive arts program for our students. I'd like to express our gratitude for the decision to form a dedicated district position for fine arts. I'm very proud to be here and to advocate for our arts programs and work with our teachers and form community partnerships with several organizations in our community, such as the Appleton Museum, the City of Ocala, the Ocala Symphony, the Ocala Civic Theater, the College of Central Florida, the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade Committee, the Marion Cultural Alliance, the Riley Arts Center, Fine Arts for Ocala, the George Albright Tax Collector's Office, the Optimist Club, and Howard Academy. I have some teachers here that I would like to recognize. Jeannie Baines is our art teacher at 8th Street Elementary. Sandra Collins is our music teacher at Shady Hill, and she is also the District 5 Chair for the Florida Elementary Music Educators Association. Emily Good, music teacher at Hammett Bowen, and she is a Rookie Teacher of the Year. Stacy Moore is our secondary lead art teacher from Howard Middle School, and she coordinates our district art. Jamie Roche is our elementary lead art teacher from Maplewood Elementary. Suzanne Schmitling is our lead music teacher from Maplewood Elementary. She is also president of the Marion County Music Association and coordinates the Elementary Honor Choir and the Charlie Dixon Music Festival. And we also have Jan Jernigan. She is the Fine Arts and Dual Enrollment Clerk. She helps keep the art shows and concert lists up to date, and she hangs our district art and organizes the tons and tons of art that come into our office to be distributed to the art shows. And we also have a community partner here, Mary Britt. She is the executive director of the Ocala Civic Theater, and each year she coordinates an in-school play about bullying for upper elementary grades, and she also brings in the spring, or actually winter this year, an in-school literacy tour for our primary, elementary, and intermediate, and this year middle school. Let's give them a hand. Thank you for your commitment.
Stay right there while we read the proclamation.
Yes, please stay, because this is about you and what you do. This proclamation reads, whereas the study of the fine arts contributes to young people's development through heightened skills in listening, reading, self-expression, creativity, creative problem-solving, and critical thinking abilities. Whereas the study of fine arts gives students a deeper understanding of community and multicultural values and beliefs, promoting personal growth. Whereas the inclusion of instruction in all of the arts significantly enhances the morale and quality of the school environment and teaches sensitivity to beauty, order, and other expressive qualities. Whereas it is the stated objective of the Marion County Public Schools to prepare children for a productive role in our society, and arts education is a viable factor in the total education curricula that develops citizens into a global society. Whereas the National Association for Music Education, the National Art Education Association, the American Alliance for Theater and Education, and the National Dance Education Organization have all designated March as Arts in Our Schools Month. And whereas the School Board of Marion County, Florida endorses the observance of Arts in Our Schools Month in grades K through 12 as an opportunity to support the purposes and practices of education in the arts and encourages teachers, parents, students, and all citizens to participate, now therefore be it proclaimed the School Board of Marion County, Florida recognizes the month of March 2018 to be Arts in Our Schools Month. And of course, it's dated February 27th and signed by each of you. So Joe, to all of these teachers and their help and to their students, I'll present that to you on behalf of the board and the superintendent.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Comment, board, Betty?
I'd like to say that's not just a proclamation, that's something that is from our hearts. Being a musician myself and knowing what it would do for me when I would just go into the living room and play my piano and just escape from my homework, procrastinating maybe, I don't know. But, you know, I so enjoy your programs, and the big one at the church is phenomenal. And, you know, and musicians, y'all, and artists, y'all just have a special look. You do. You just look smart. So thank you for all you do for our children. And I always just look for that smart lady, and know she's the artist and the musician, the smart-looking lady.
James?
I just want to say this to you. You all are an important part of our schools. And when I say that to you, you know, being a building level administrator, I had my fondest time is when my music and art teachers would come in, and they would make the school and make the programs and make the kids feel so well by just your presence and your smile, because you had a tendency, y'all have this tendency of dealing with the worst kids and make them enjoy what they're doing for the short period of time that you all have them in the day. I just want you all to know that you all are important to the schools. And I know your principals tell you that all the time. I'm sure they do. And if they don't, tell them I said so. And that's important, because I know how important you are. And it just brings back my good days out at Pheasant when we had the outside gazebo and kids would sit up on the hill and listen to all the schools that come in and play. And it was a beautiful thing. And especially it was in the north end of the county, and where we just brought all the schools together for that one special thing. So I want to say thank you on behalf of all of your students and all of us in the school system. It's a beautiful job.
And Miss Mary Britt, thank you so much for your commitment and OCT's commitment to our students. That play every year is so important, especially in today's environment. So thank you for your commitment, not only to our schools, but to our community. And to all of you, you all know what the arts means to me. It took a very shy young girl, I know you find that hard to believe, but my music really helped me become a leader, and music is still important to me today. I leave here and go to the Central Florida Master Choir rehearsal, and I know what you do every day, and that those lives that you can change because of the arts. So thank you, and I look forward to sharing many more successes with you. Thank you.
I just want to say, I think you guys are amazing, and I'm always amazed, whether it be art or music, how you can just bring out the creativity. And whether just the drawing, I would be amazed at any age level, or even the music. I also want to recognize that it's not also is it an outlet for students, but it also helps them academically. And, you know, just the brain development and stuff, so we're very appreciative, and thank you.
Callie and I compare stick figures.
I do. Y'all wouldn't, yeah, you could help me a lot.
Thank you very, very much for being with us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
Good evening. In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at tonight's meeting, either regarding one of tonight's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school district. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures is available from the table in the hallway. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. Tonight's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board secretary. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name and address for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner, therefore verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. If there are matters dealing with student discipline and including expulsions, they will be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of this meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. Thank you for your attention to the board's requirements.
Madam Secretary.
Nicole Floyd McKee.
Right there. Ms. McKee, please state your full name and spell your last name and your address, please.
Nicole Floyd McKee, Nicole Floyd McKee. Our address is 8072 Northwest 80th Ave, Ocala, Florida, 34482. Ladies and gentlemen of the school board, superintendent, to who else it may concern, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. I'm here to address an incident that happened at our 13-year-old daughter's middle school during class a couple weeks ago. She was sitting at her computer doing her classwork when a young man in her class came up behind her. Unprovoked, he put his hands around her neck and choked her for about 6 to 10 seconds to where she could not breathe or speak. When she could, she stood up and went to kick him. Our daughter had to get her wits about her and go to her substitute teacher that was in charge of her class with the girl that sits next to her to tell the teacher what happened. The teacher told her to go to student management. How does this happen without a teacher noticing? So starts the process of why I'm here speaking to you all. An investigation was started with the dean and the police officer on campus. The young man ended up with 3 days of ISS or pass. I'm not sure which he got, but I do know it was 3 days. He came back to class on the Tuesday after President's Day. That following Thursday, 3 days later, after he got back to school, 10 days after the initial incident, he reported that Emma had kicked him, which Emma has always said she did from the beginning, and so did the young lady who sits next to our daughter in class. There was another investigation, and yes, she did kick him. When you are being attacked from behind, what are you supposed to do? Just sit back and let the attacker do it and get away? So now our daughter, that was choked from behind to the point of not being able to breathe or speak, is facing discipline actions for kicking someone that had his hands around her neck. The school states that this is a Marion County policy from the Code of Conduct. I don't understand this. I don't understand how this can happen. Please explain to me what this is teaching our kids. What about the bullying policy? What about protecting yourself from an attacker? How is she supposed to feel safe? If this had happened in a public place, my daughter wouldn't be going through this because it would be called self-defense. But in our schools, it is called retaliation. I cannot wrap my head around this. It is just crazy to me. All this policy does is empower the attacker, bully, or whatever you want to call him or her. How can we sit back and take and let this happen to our kids. I'm not going to. All it does is make the victim feel as though they can do nothing. We had a meeting at the school, and yesterday, February 26, 2018, with the principal and the dean. The meeting went well, but they stick to the code of conduct and say that since our daughter did kick the young man that attacked her, that she has to face a consequence for that action. It seems to me and a lot of others that our administration in the schools are stuck making the victim of an attack more of a victim because of this no-touch policy. Something needs to change for the sake of our kids. Letting an attacker know that if their victim stands up for themselves, that the victim's going to be punished, and it only teaches the victim to be more of a victim. So do we tell women that are being beat by their husband or boyfriend, don't say anything, don't fight, don't do anything back? Do we tell a young girl that gets date raped, don't hit him, don't fight back, don't speak out? Because you know what this policy just told my daughter? Don't defend yourself, or you get in trouble. This to a young woman who has never gotten into any trouble at school. She received the award, the Loretta P. Jenkins Principal's Award for conduct and being a great example for other students, and now she's going through this. I won't stand for any child, young adult, or any adult to ever think this is right. And thank you again for your time, and I hope we can find a better policy to help teach and protect our kids.
I can't just sit here and say nothing.
Ms. McCall?
This is bizarre.
Mr. James?
Okay. Would you have a meet with Dr. Absher and talk about that? Yeah.
I do need to speak up, though. There has been conversation, there has been meetings, and nothing is being done except for that student that she just spoke of that was choked, could not breathe, could not talk, could not scream. When she was defending herself, is going to be sitting in ISS.
Sitting in ISS tomorrow.
No way.
So there has been discussion.
No.
Okay, board,
No.
I don't,
No.
a board, I hate,
No. Dr. Absher, can you please? Thank you. Dr. Grantham, would you please? Thank you. They will meet with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
we didn't hear all of it. And we got-
I've heard all of it.
I've heard all I need.
Okay, okay.
A copy of what I spoke, if you guys want a copy for record.
That little
We can't take anything because it wasn't provided beforehand. If you want to, I got a card, you can email it to me and I can share it to the board.
Okay, but we can't discuss it right here.
No, you're right.
Ms. Flockheader, is that all?
No. Travis Thorpe.
Hello. My name's Travis Thorpe. My last name's spelled Thorpe. My address is 10884 Southeast 108th Terrace Road in Bellevue, Florida. The zip code there is 34420. I wanted to speak to you folks today a little bit about transportation and the problems therein with it. There have been ongoing problems with transportations far back, far back, even to the previous administration and probably beyond that. Recently, my daughter, her bus was delayed over the series of a week period, 45 minutes and beyond, up to an hour and a half at one point in time. After 3 days of that, I simply gave up waiting for the bus and just simply started transporting my daughter and the two kids across the street to school in order to get them there on time. One of the days there was no notice that they were even going to be late. The rest of the days they did call automatically and say, hey, we're going to be 35 minutes late, which typically when we get those calls as parents means 55 minutes or more. And this is habitual and it's been ongoing, and it's worse this year probably than ever before. You know, we're in a climate now where we're talking about kids being safe in school. Well, I say, how about if we start making them safe right at the school bus stop? How about if we don't have them waiting 15, 20, 45 minutes beyond what the scheduled time is to be picked up? And in the afternoon, it's even worse, to be honest with you. Which I can tolerate that a little bit more, knowing my kid's already been to school, but in the morning, knowing, you know, she's either missing out on education time or a classroom is being disrupted because kids are coming in late doesn't sit well with me. Not only as a parent, but as a taxpayer in this community, that I'm expecting the service to be provided that may or may not come. Now, I'm blessed to have the ability to be able to sit and wait with my daughter until the bus comes if I'd like to. A lot of parents don't have that available. They've got to go to work. And it's just not feasible to be leaving 6, 7, 8-year-old kids standing near a road for an excessive period of time. Now, I've been told, and I understand, that the problem in transportation is lack of drivers. And I get that too. I'm not certain I know a person who would really want that job. But I'm a business owner, and I know in order for my business to operate, I have to have the people to make it work. That being said, you know, this problem has been habitual. It's been for years. I know that politicians typically don't seem to like to be held accountable. I want you to know, Mrs. King, Miss Stacy, Mr. James, Miss Boynton, Miss McCall, I'm holding you responsible and accountable to pass some type of policy that by next school year, we're staffed correctly as far as drivers go, and we have backups in case one of them gets sick or has to go missing. I'm holding you accountable and responsible to put that policy in place. Mrs. Mayor, I'm holding you accountable and responsible to carry out that policy. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that a kid would have to sit that long beside the road waiting for a bus. If we can't fix that one thing, if we can't put kids in seats or they're missing education time, how can we improve school performance or individual student performance? Find it hard to understand. And I just make pizzas and spaghetti meatballs, but it doesn't seem like hiring people should be that difficult. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Thorpe, I will tell you that we will look into this and we will look at our policy.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C 110.1 C 21.1 with the exception of item C 19.1, which has been withdrawn entirely from the agenda. Moved by Ms. King, seconded by Ms. Boynton. Did you second? All those in favor, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign. The vote passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $45,225.33. $2,880 to Bellevue High School from the Football Boosters, $1,100 to Bellevue High School from Wise Auto Sales, $24,616.10 to 8th Street Elementary School from Helen Inguero Scholarship Fund, assorted soccer equipment valued at $3,012.08 to Marion e-learning from DonorsChoose.org, assorted athletic shoes valued at $2,553.15 to Marion e-learning from DonorsChoose.org, $1,000 to Marion e-learning from Target Corporation, $3,000 to Marion Technical College from Marion County Veterans Helping Veterans, Inc., $1,064 to the Marion County Public Schools History Fair Curriculum and Instruction from the Silver River Museum, $6,000 to Family School and Community Engagement from Monroe Regional Medical Health System, Inc. May I have a motion?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Boynton and seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor, please vote aye, and opposed, nay. Motion passed, 5-0. Mrs. King, would you like to do our thank yous this evening?
Yes, on behalf of the Marion County School Board, we would like to say how grateful we are for the donations. Our schools appreciate them, our teachers, our students. We'll put them to good use. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. The next administrative, I'm sorry, board concerns. We will start, Ms. Boynton.
Well, on Vanguard, I was over to the military. Me and Mrs. Dr. Mayo. Wasn't a great time.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
ROTC? Was that what it was?
Yes, and it was something, it's about a lot of things were going on, but once it began like early that day, and then in the evening time, we were like, wow, what our little military, our young boys and girls are, it's just something really special, so that's okay.
Thank you. Mr. James?
Well, yeah. I have to speak frankly, and I hope people understand where I am. Once again, we're looking at TV, and I saw where we were sending counselors down to South Florida. I have no problem with sending counselors down to South Florida, but I do have a problem with seeing it on the news and not being informed of it. Okay.
I got an email. Didn't you get an email?
Did y'all get an email?
I don't recall seeing an email.
I saw something. I got something. Because I knew about it before I saw that.
Well, I didn't see it. Okay, I don't know. Maybe y'all saw it.
Did we get an email?
It's on the newspaper.
Okay, it's neither here nor there. The problem I have with it is I saw it on TV. Okay, and some of my concerns are simply this, guys. I'm going to tell you the wheels are beginning to come off of what we're doing. Now, one of the things that we have now, we are part of the Central Florida Coalition of School Boards. Okay, at some point, being a member or part of that, we usually will check and consult and make sure that we're getting the maximum amount of input for what we're doing. We're part of the STEM program, and you've seen the people come up from Orlando when they help us with the STEMs and the science program and et cetera. If you look at some of our purchases, we use those things off the bid list, because if one of the members have a bid with somebody, all the members can utilize that. So we take advantage of that. My concern is that are we utilizing all the resources that we have? It's nice that we send our support to down to South Florida, but I would like for us to have consulted. Did you talk with anybody down there, Beth, as a member of, see what they're doing or see if we're doing? Because I think it's important that we speak not only individually, but as a collective group. Individually, we have very little. Collectively, we have a lot. Now, we're part of that organization, and in the past, when we had some things that we wanted to discuss, we discussed it as a collective group. We as a district can still do what we want to do, but yet we are working as a collective group and making sure that we're not sending too little or too much. And this is one of the things I'm saying. Do we really want to be part of the group if we're not going to consult and talk with them and things like that to get the information? I said something that was real interesting. The wheels are coming off. When I say the wheels are coming off, when I look at the exchange I had with my board members about what they had talked with in reference to that parent and the principal. When I think in terms of that, board members in the past would have called down here and said, hey, I don't agree with this. But for some reason, I'm getting it. And when we get this thing, then they know how we feel about it. And this is why I was saying, hey, let's go over and let Dr. Apsher take care of this, because the board know how we feel about it. I'm concerned that we are beginning not to trust one another. And this is one of the biggest things that we have as a board. And I know I'm saying, everybody say, well, I heard about this and I heard about that, but I didn't. And I just want everybody to know, when we do this, we're working as an individual group where we are part of a collective group. And I'm concerned that if we're not communicating with the people out there and making them aware of what we're talking about. And I will tell you something that's very positive. I finally got somebody to see what I was talking about with a balanced scorecard. It took a long time, but a balanced scorecard finally showed up. And it's where we can read this thing. I'm telling you, the wheels are beginning to come off. And I'm telling you, it's because of little things. And we can say, I didn't know about it, and Mr. James, you didn't read your email and all that stuff. But guys, I don't like to hear about stuff in the paper. That means I didn't hear it from the superintendent. I heard it from my public relations officer, and I heard it from, on TV, I heard it from the director of social work, Mr. Lopez. And I'm looking for that leadership for somebody to be telling us what we're doing with our resources. That's what I'm looking for here, guys. Thank you.
Stacy?
Yes. Of interest, I sent an email yesterday to the superintendent about the busing issue. And I shared with her that I would be getting back with her Wednesday. This has been going on long before she was here. But parents are telling me it's getting worse. And so y'all know, in bargaining and everything, I've always begged our staff to please pay our bus drivers more. Please give, do whatever it has to take. Like, you know, this gentleman has a business, and so he has to pay more for his employees, or he's not going to have a business. In public school, we just don't seem to react and understand. I watched a presentation with the superintendent here on, you know, we watched a clip, a video talking about reporting to DCF and reporting things, and how we, you know, principals get in trouble, they lose their jobs for not reporting to DCF when a student's in danger. The way I look at it is, and I'm going to send the superintendent a letter tomorrow, another email follow-up tomorrow. This has been going on too long to even wait until next year. This needs to be solved now. Because if we have a child on Thursday that something happens, it's going to be, well, why did the board wait 5 years to do this? Because I've been fighting it for 5 years. It's just falling on deaf ears. If a principal has to call and report to DCF a child that's in danger, shall I make the call to DCF? Or Dr. Mayer, will you make the call to DCF the next time we know we have a bus that's late because a child's in danger? A child is in danger. And I did receive an email back from Dr. Ham. He said that Dr. Mayer will be getting back in touch with me today or tomorrow. I mean, I know that Mrs. Rohr is working on that, working on something, and I look forward tomorrow to getting that. And I will be emailing every single day to more and more people. If the list grows, to send in an email to every civil lawyer in this town so that they know that we have sent notice from this board that this needs to be done. I'll just step it up. You can call it harassment, you can call it bullying, you can call it whatever label you want to put on it. I call it being persuasive that this problem needs to be solved now. Thank you.
Ms. King.
Okay. In light of events that have been happening, you know, throughout our country, our nation, and everything, and also in light of that parent that came before us today. I want this community, and I want our students, and I want everyone to know that I will not cast a shadow on what has happened to this student. But I will shine light on this, and I am going to help expose what has happened to any victim in the Marion County School Board. I've heard, that's just one of a few different things that I've heard. And that's a whole other discussion. I hope that what that mother told you guys today did not fall on deaf ears. Because when you're a victim and then you're shamed, and the school board is doing that, I take issue with that. And like I said, I'm gonna expose it. I'm not casting shadows on that because that's what the perpetrator wants. And then we're gonna make it hard for the victims to come forward. It doesn't need to be like that. So what I'm also asking in light of this is I am requesting incident reports. I don't want a PowerPoint. I don't want a dog and pony show of what incident reports are, but I would like incident reports for our staff, and this includes our paras, our teachers, our deans, our principals, of any injuries that have been recorded by our students. I'm also going to request incident reports for any student that has been injured by another student. Because as I just said, I'm shining light on this. I want to know, as a school board member in this district, how many injuries have been caused by our students. And we may be having a community, a school issue, but what I've seen, we need to address this. And now, I'm gonna move a little bit. Oh, no, before we move on, when we talk about this policy, we need to decide what is retaliation and what is self-defense. Because our students are doing time for retaliation, but in reality, it's self-defense. And there's a difference, and that needs to be clear, and our leaders need to know and understand that. Okay. On, it's just kind of hard to move to a brighter note because this saddens me to, anyways. On a lighter note, I did go to the Southeastern Youth Fair last week, and I was with second graders, and it was Shady Hill students, and we visited our centers, and they were a lot of fun. We had a citrus center where they were drinking orange juice and learning about navels and grapefruits. They went to a plant center where they were planting broccoli and kale. They learned about equines, poultry, forestry, and it was a really good day. And Ms. Sarah Laffey did a great job. She informed me that they had over 1,100 students in 3 days go through that. It's just a really good program for Marion County. So, and with that, thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank Mr. Mark Vianello and his staff for, I have not been yet, but I will be at Bellevue High School for the CTE fairs that you're having at the different schools. I think it's a great idea. Hoping we're getting lots of students that want to enter into some of those career fields. So thank you very much for that. Also, tomorrow evening, I have the honor of emceeing the elementary school honor choir at the Riley Center, and I'm very excited about that. Our elementary schools are going to shine, some of our students, so it will be a lot of fun. I also want to say, I know there's a lot of distractions right now, and I do hope that our teachers and students do understand, even when we have distractions, that we truly do have you as our top priority. So I hope you hear that, and I hope you know that you can come to your board with concerns. And with that, Dr. Mayer.
Thank you. Thank you very much. address the concern that you brought up earlier. Exactly what you had talked about was being talked about in the district office this afternoon about the parent, as we had been forwarded the information from Ms. Mobley, and we're having that conversation. It concerns me on multiple levels, but it concerns me as a female superintendent. So thank you for bringing it up, although, and I appreciate you having the parent come tonight. A phone call, we could have sped it up a little bit, but we got it through the chain and we're going to talk about it. So thank you for that. And I hope Mr. James brings it up when he is on the Code of Conduct Committee. So thank you for that. Officer Barry, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you, especially in the light of current events. And just know that we appreciate you. We appreciate all of our SROs, and we're keeping you in our prayers. We also want our Broward community to know that we stand with Broward. We stand with you proudly, and under the coordination of our friends at the Department of Education, we are proud that we have sent 7 of our psych services psychologists down there for the rest of the week. There have been such a coordinated effort from the Department of Education to send resources down there, and we were proud to be able to do that and to help them. The youth fair was mentioned, and it was amazing, another amazing opportunity for our students. Tonight we highlighted our history fair. We'll also be sharing our spelling bee and our STEAM showcase that happened recently. Those students will be coming to the board soon to share their accolades as well. This last Saturday was the Be a Reader celebration at Maplewood Elementary, and thank you, Ms. Hamby, the early learning staff, Title I, our Family Schools Community Engagement Department. They all came together and put on this magnificent reading opportunity, literacy opportunity for our pre-K students, and we counted about 100, we stopped counting about 175-ish. We can be sure we're there. Some slipped in late to see Jack Hartman. He was there, and it was a lot of fun, and our kids left with books, and we also partnered with our hospital district under the grant that Ms. Potter has with them, the Foods and Nutrition Grant, and so there was activities because healthy bodies, healthy minds make better readers, and we're so proud of that partnership. Coming up, we have what we're calling our K2 Professional Development Boot Camp, and that's going to be Saturday, April 14th. We had one for our 3 to 5 teachers, so now we're having one for our K2 teachers. This will be on a Saturday, April 14th, and our teachers will be getting stipends for that. We're very excited, so thank you to Ms. Horn and her team for putting that together. Something a little less formal than that, but still something very powerful, is tomorrow night there's going to be a Twitter chat, and I have to let you know that I had to have Ms. Renfro show me how we would do this on Twitter, but she did. So if you check into Twitter at 7:30 tomorrow night and use the hashtag #WeAreMCPS, you start, check Miss Dawson, Jenna Dawson's organizing this, her Twitter, and all these questions are going to be coming through. So it'll be like a blog, a live blog where you can engage with your with fellow teachers and have great discussion on these different questions. It's about lesson planning tomorrow night, and that idea was brought to us through Ms. Renfro and Ms. Dawson and their connections with other districts, and teachers had reached out to them and asked about having one based on our district. So we're excited about that, just something new and something different. As of today, 4,521 of our employees have taken the child abuse training, so we're so excited about that. And we have our sexual harassment training will be coming live right after spring break. So information on that will be forthcoming as that is planned and implemented, and on multiple levels needed, especially in light of tonight's discussion. So again, thank you for that. Ma'am? Oh, okay. Tonight, fairy tales popped into my head because they're often dismissed as childish. But when you say fairy tales, you often think of just Disney. But fairy tales have been around, oh gosh, they predate Grimm They're just magnificent, very much adult, though, when you look at the Grimm fairy tales. Nothing like what you see in Disney at all. But there's a quote by Neil Gaiman that I just wanted to share tonight. Neil Gaiman's the author of a book called Caroline and some other great novels. And he said, at the beginning of Coraline, his book Coraline, he says that fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us dragons exist, but they tell us that the dragon can be beat. And I think that's just a very powerful, positive message for us right now, that there is no dragon that cannot be conquered. Thank you very much.
May I ask?
Quickly,
Say one more
yes.
question. Just because you were saying something, and I wanted to know if you can make sure you can address, there are a lot of incidents that are going around, and some of the students, some of the schools have been locked down, you know, for different things. And some of the parents wanted to know, how are we making sure, how are we thinking with those students, if they need psychology information? Could you do that for them, for those students that are saying something because they were locked down in a school? Can you make sure, make sure that they're okay? Make that information, because I think all the information as the parents get, but by the time they begin to say, we don't care, but we do for what's going on. So if you can send that information to make to the principals to make sure if any of those students need to have psychology or information, to make sure those students, you know, because some of those things can be scary to them, you know. Make sure that we do those things, okay? Thank you. And I think most of the time we just get all the information on our cell phone. Why don't we just get a daily for us, really just testing that to us every day, you know, that's kind of like.
Well, we asked.
Yeah, I know it, but differently.
That
yeah, by the time you get that.
So we're getting.
I want that information, but I think we also instantly, we know it, but I think maybe by monthly, we can go back and say, what happened? Did we do this? You know, we can check that around. You know what I'm saying? It's something, we can come up with an idea what we can do, okay?
Ms. McCall, can I make one comment?
Yes.
Real quick, it'll be short. I just need to address something because Dr. Marion, I wasn't going to bring it up tonight, but she said a simple phone call is all you needed. Dr. Marion, I spoke to Dr. Ham yesterday, and he informed me that that was not under his umbrella. And he said that is under Dr. Grantham's. And he says, do you want me to have him call you? And I said, yes, please do. I received a phone call from Ms. Dama Abshire stating that Dr. Grantham had told her to call me. So I want you to know that I tried to do the chain of commands, you know, and move up.
Mm-hmm.
I think next time I'll call you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Thursday, March 8th, 2018 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to address impact of new initiatives, discuss a middle school performing arts program, a contractual agreement with Blackboard regarding student learning management system, as well as review recommended textbooks for adoption, extended day fee schedules, in a District East and downtown facilities discussion. The district will be closed for spring break the week of March 12th. Therefore, the next school board meeting is scheduled for March 27th.
March 27th? Seriously?
Well, the second Tuesday is spring break, so yes. I suppose that's correct. Okay. Before addressing expulsion matters, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through February 9th, 2018. Mrs. Flockketter, are there any parents who have submitted a timely request to speak on their child's behalf?
No, ma'am.
May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 17-103 and JD 17-120 with educational services through the remainder of the 2016-17 school year and the entire 2017-18 school year?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Boynton and seconded by Mr. James. All those in favor, if there's no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. The motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the expulsion of students JD 18-45, JD 18-47, JD 18-49, and JD 18-50 with educational services through the remainder of the 2017-18 school year and the first semester of the 2018-19 school year is what I believe that should say. Okay. Moved by Ms. Boynton, seconded by Ms. King. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. The motion passed 5-0. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Mr. James?
Would you vote for me?
Motion passed 5-0. Meeting is adjourned at 7:23 p.m.